Well, hello, you epic human being, and welcome to Waffle-Free Storytelling. It's Tina Konstant here, and because the jibber jabber is all at the end, we get to jump right into today's story, which is the first love story. Now, your mind will tell you not to believe this tale, but your heart will know it's true. And you will know it's true for two reasons. First, this is the story about how the world came to be, which means it's in our DNA. And second, this is the very first love story. You see, a long, long time ago, there were two giants who strode the universe. One travelled from north to south and the other from east to west. Twice in every age they would pass each other like two colossal planets. But the distances were so great and the focus on their own paths was so intense that one was never aware that the other existed. For many an age, they passed each other thinking that they were alone in infinite space. But then, one of the giants, the one travelling from north to south, got distracted. He tripped over a star and kicked a moon, sending it off orbit. The moon spun out and crossed the path of the giant travelling from east to west. Well, after so many ages of simply pacing the universe, this rolling moon was a marvellous distraction. And the giant of the east nudged it with her foot and rolled it back across the universe from where it came. Seeing the moon return, the giant of the north turned his head to see what had sent it back. And there, in the distance, a pinprick dot at the other side of infinity, he saw the giant of the east. Well, first they waved. In fact, for many ages that's all they could do. They kicked the moon between them and waved and smiled, each time thinking of what they would say if they were ever close enough to speak. And perhaps that's what started it all. Perhaps those thoughts caused the giants to take one small step towards each other. Every time they kicked the moon across the space that divided them, they couldn't help but take one step closer. And so it came to be after 1,000,000 ages that they could see more than shapes on the horizon. He saw a magnificent power, shimmering blue and green and gold. She saw an immense energy, shining in silver and white and yellow. It took another 1,000 ages and finally they could hear each other. They spoke of their imaginings, they spoke in what-ifs, they spoke of colour and light in the things they had seen. And as they spoke, they shared their dreams and ideas. They got to know each other, and the more they knew each other, the more clearly they saw each other. The light and the dark, the shade and the shadow. And there was no judgment, simply joy in each other's company. Another 100 ages passed, and they found themselves passing each other by with no words. He simply saw her, and she simply saw him. It was then, when only silence separated them, that they broke every law of infinite space and stepped off their paths completely and onto a third path that until then had not existed. So fresh and new was this path that instead of walking the pace they knew, they ran. They moved so fast that they pulled a battalion of stars in their wake. They ran around the planets, knocking suns and moons off kilter. They were so eager to meet and even perhaps to touch that they didn't realize how fast they were going. All they could see was the swirls and the sweeps of milk and honey and lights and fire. They were so overwhelmed by the sight of each other, the warmth of each other's breath, and the heat of each other's skin, that the moment they were in reach, these two giants wrapped their hearts and souls around each other so tight that they became inseparable. The stars spun and swirled around them, doing everything to separate these two giants. But there was so much power in their combined hearts that they welded together for eternity, cheek to cheek, soul to soul, whispering to each other as if nothing else existed. The moon they had kicked between them hovered close, as if waiting for another game. But the gold and silver, blue, green, white, and brilliant yellow blended and shone in the dark. And after many more ages, the universe stopped trying to pull them apart and instead named the union Earth. And life blossomed on life. And so the Earth grew until finally we came into being. But as with all things in the universe, including those giants at the dawn of time, the longer we have lived in our own world, the more we think we're the only ones here. Over time, we've forgotten about the giants that made the world. We've created new myths about how North and South and East and West came to be, and we've invented a new purpose for the moon. But none of that really matters, because whatever stories we tell ourselves, to this day, those two giants remain at our core, one forming North and South, the other forming East and West. It is those two giants locked in each other's arms, heart to heart, mind to mind, and soul to soul, that create the heat that allows us all to live. In fact, if you listen to the earth carefully, you will still hear those giants whispering, "I love you." There you go. There you go. That's it. The first ever love story. Waffle-Free style. Oh wow, hey, that is the last story in the Vermilion collection. So I'll put a link to that as soon as it's actually good to go. And the new story next week will be for the, I think it's the Jade collection. I can't remember. Anyway, you'll find all the details on www.tinakonstant.com. So pop along there and see what's what. In the meantime, oh, you know I'm going to say this. Love the people you love and repair the relationships with the people that you haven't spoken to for a long time. Be in touch, stay in touch, especially now as the world is still in a very, very strange place. So I'm going to go and cuddle my dogs because they have been very patient with me today. We have not yet been for a walk. And then probably a really nice cup of tea on this sunny morning. So have a beautiful day, have a splendid day, and I will see you next time for some more wild adventures from the universe. Bye-bye now. Bye. Hey. Biscuits later, Jack.